What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Chiefin with Dale. I am your host, Dale Fowler, along with my partner, Lonnie Harris. Lonnie, how you doing today, bro?
Good. How you doing?
Hanging in there, bro. Just, on this good Sunday, just enjoying it. Had to do some housekeeping stuff, get ready for the week to start. So I know we got a lot of topics that we're going to be discussing today regarding the Chiefs. Get some things out there. Going to be discussing the AFC West, Chris Jones contract rumors about that. Also, Patrick Mahomes, how he impacted Trey Lance after the workout that they had with each other. Reports came out from a scout, and then also we're going to discuss Dru Tranquil, the new linebacker that we added this off season, and what made him actually want to come to Kansas City, and dive deeper into that. So starting off with our first topic, gotta jump into the CJ talk, Chris Jones. So there has been news circulating about the Chris Jones extension. Sources believe it will be around 3 to 4 years and wants to be at least the second highest defensive tackle in the league. So Lonnie, do you think this is a feasible deal for the Chiefs, and how do you think it affects their future going forward?
A, a 3 to 4 year deal for Chris Jones sounds good. I think 3 years sounds more reasonable for Chris Jones. He's right around 28 years old. It makes sense for him to stay with a contending team as far as always being in contention and being in the running and being able to contend for championships. And that
Mm-hmm.
also shores up your defensive line for the next 3 years until you can find a replacement for Chris Jones, and kind of shore up that interior. I know you have Charles Omenihu, but yeah, you would just having another pass rusher down there would definitely shore up that defensive line for years, for at least the next 3 years to come. Because I think it should be a 3 years deal with him being 28. That'll get him right to around the age of 31. So I feel like that's good. He still can have one of them those anomaly seasons. But especially when players get up there in age, that sweet spot is usually about 3 years because when you get into that 30 age, you get into the rarefied territory age, with football and all the injuries that we have.
I, honestly, I think the 3 year is fine with me, but I think more reasonable, I would do 4 years, just because with him being literally the best defensive tackle in the league besides Aaron Donald, we don't know how much time is left for that. I mean, you're going to be locking up a for sure player that wants to end his season in Kansas City, right? So 4 years. Just a year after 32 years old, but at the same time, it gives him more breathing room, especially with a contract extension that's clearing up the cap space. And also, depending on his signing bonus and what you guarantee him, it just it affects the cap that you want for years to come. And then not only would it do just for the cap hit this year, because right now he's at 28.5 million cap hit, so the extension can knock that down. A decent price, and then also you got the next year as well too, where it wouldn't be as much as what it would have been, especially trying to get a deal done on this last year. So I think just 4 years makes sense, just off the impact that he has done in Kansas City, and really. He has always produced throughout the years here as well. So I think it's worth it. Just show him the appreciation that we have for him, just because, as soon as he, got drafted here in, what was it, either 2017, 2018, he had just been someone who has lit up the defense, brings some fire out of him, brings a lot of swagger, brings a lot of motivation and enthusiasm. So really just having that veteran presence with one of the best guys in the league, you need to lock him up now and show him that, hey, you're the quarterback of this defense. We run off of you. Of course, you do want great edge rushers as well too. That's what really the defensive side of the ball is based off now, having that significant pass rush. But he's one of the best interior pass rushers in the league, and then he's someone who's flexible on a line as well too. On those packages where you have the NASCAR, when you want to have like your best pass rushers out there, that's someone that you can push to the edge, where you can bring a Charles Minihu in there. Then you got Wharton that's coming back as well too, and then you also got Carl Laftis, and then also just and then Felix as well too, the rookie that we just drafted. You just have a lot of options to where when you know it's time to go get that pass rusher, you're able to position him anywhere on the line, which is important. It's been times that a lot of people thought that we should have traded him just because when we had stalls in last contract negotiation he had and we was able to get that 4 year deal done. It's just, the value of him. People were trying to do that, but we starting to see like, nah, let's go ahead and work on getting an extension. Let's lock him up because he is the best at his position, and you want to be good for years to come. You got Mahomes on the offensive side, you have Chris Jones on the defensive side. Right there, you just build around that because those those are the players that really ramps up both sides of the ball. So that makes the most sense for me. But we'll see how it go. We see how it go. Any more thoughts on that?
Yeah, like you said, the 4 year deal for you. I'm still on the 3 year, man, because he's up there in age, and we gotta start moving. You don't want to be too late on things like this, right? So like, I feel like that's just a little bit different for me. You don't want to be too late. It's the Belichick theory for me. Not too late, but just in time, before the player falls off.
Well, we'll see how that goes. We still got time for that to happen. We'll see what happens in the next upcoming months or upcoming weeks. It seems like something is starting to gain traction going forward. So we should hear something before preseason start. Usually when we get contracts done, we make sure to try to have them locked up before then. So we see how that goes. We got a couple months until August until we get into that first preseason game. Training camp coming up in July as well too. So we'll see what happens there. Now moving on to our next topic, jumping into the AFC West. So once again, the rivals are starting to try to make a couple moves now. They're trying to knock off the streak that the Kansas City Chiefs has been on. They have been dominating the AFC West for nearly almost a decade now. Really has been the best team coming out. So what's your thoughts on this upcoming season, and how do you feel this ranking, how the season will go with the AFC West teams this year?
Yeah, so I feel like as far as the AFC West, of course, always at the number one spot, I feel like we're gonna have the Chiefs, right? You have a young secondary, one of the best secondaries in the league. 6 rookies that started in the Super Bowl, all drafted last year, got significant play time in the playoffs, made plays in the playoffs all the way to the Super Bowl. I feel like that is going to be a strong suit for the Chiefs. Young wideouts coming in for the Chiefs, but we have a slew of them, so I feel like that's going to be a learning curve as well. Being that you have Kadarius Toney's, Scott Moore's, they're vets in the room now. Being that you don't have those other veterans in the room that used to be there, like such as a Tyreek or whoever the case may be that used to be there before. So we're gonna have to rely on those guys. They're gonna get a bigger role, which I'm not fearful that they won't step up, but they will. So they will step up. And then you have one of the best linebacker corps in the league, I feel like, too, right? Adding Dru Tranquil, which we'll get to later, but he's one of the best cover linebackers. You already have one of the best athletic linebackers in Willie Gay. So we're going to see what we have there. So that solidifies the middle of that defense. You lose a little bit when you lose Juan Thorhill and replace him with Edwards. But that back end presence, like I said, is still going to be there, still having all those rookies. You still got a rookie safety 6. He played significant time in that Bengals game, made a key play down the stretch in the Bengals game. And then the D-line, right? You have the only question I feel like we have with the Chiefs, right, is the defensive line, because we lost 9-9, Colin Saunders, and like you said, we don't have Frank there anymore. But so we'll see what that is, and if we pay Chris Jones, we'll see if he earns that booking and pass rusher money, and leaves his mark there. So I have the Chiefs coming in first. Now, the second spot is kind of up for grabs, but I have the Chargers coming into at that second spot, like they usually are last year, like they were last year. They added it. Yeah, they got a good defense, we know, right? Great defense, stellar QB play, right? Quarterback play. Justin Herbert is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I got to take my hat off to the dude. He's good, man. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he can sling it with the best of them. They add Quentin Johnston, big wide receiver out of TCU. I got to see Quentin Johnston actually play a lot. Dale knows I'm a college football guy, a geek for football, so I watch it. He's a bigger guy. I want to see how he shapes up against the Chiefs' smaller DBs. We got McDuffie, we got Watson, we got a bigger DB in Jalen Williams. So we'll just see how he shapes up against our DBs. He's a big yak guy. He was used on a lot of underneath stuff, but he does do the over the top stuff very good. So we'll see how that works and see how we hold up against those bigger wide receivers. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Jalen Guyton, Parham, the big tight end. Just seeing how those smaller DBs fare against those bigger wide receivers is going to be good to see throughout the season.
Yeah.
See who can match up with them. But I feel like they're the best team. They have a defensive-minded coach, and the defense is good enough to win them games. So I feel like with that alone, that'll get them to that second spot. Now with that third spot, I have Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos coming in there. They revamped got rid of their old coach, Nathaniel Hackett, brought in Sean Payton, and we'll see how that works. We know he was a winner with the Saints. We know what he did with the Saints. We know what he does with smaller QBs. He's one of the best with helping smaller QBs, a la Drew Brees, his whole career. This man had a Hall of Fame career with the Saints. Just retiring a couple years ago. Barring a pass interference call in the NFC Championship, this man is probably in another Super Bowl. So,
Yeah.
He one of the best coaches in the league. I want to see, can Sean Payton get them 5 more wins, right? Okay, because the Denver Broncos were 5-12 last year.
Mm-hmm.
Can he get them to that spot to compete with the Chargers at 10-7? Is my question. If you can get the Broncos 5 more wins, then I think we have a legit argument for possibly having 2 AFC West teams in the playoffs, but because they're good. They have our receivers there. The structure is there, and Sean is gonna bring structure. Sean Payton is gonna bring structure.
Yeah.
He brought it with the Saints. He had that organization rolling and got them all together. So I could definitely see them there at 3 and competing for that 2 spot. Also, they have a good young defense as well. And at 4, of course, I have the Raiders. No shade to the Raiders, but shade to the Raiders. Um, I can see them having success early. They have Jimmy G. They did revamp and get Jimmy G, which is I feel like that was a good addition, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we know Jimmy G, right? We've seen him a lot, being that he plays significant roles in our Super Bowl win, and he also last year we seen him during the regular season, so we've seen him a couple times. He was even on some of those New England rosters, even though he didn't play when we played New England in some of those significant home openers and different games that we play against New England. I just want to see how that goes. I want to see if he can stay healthy. Jimmy has had some unfortunate injuries, so barring any injury, he has been a very, very good quarterback, top of his game. And I want to see how it goes with Devontae. I feel like if Devontae gets started early, then they can also compete for the 3 spot. They were there with the Broncos. But I feel like if Tay doesn't get started early, right, and doesn't get involved early, I will look for some noise and some smoke on the home front there in Las Vegas, because Tay has known to not shy away from making his situation known and he's not happy somewhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But I don't see the Raiders really competing for any of those top spots up there with the Chiefs, but just because everybody's had their number, the Chiefs know him very well. We know Jimmy pretty good now because he's, like I said, we play significant games against him. So we'll just see how it goes. But that's how I feel like it fares. We'll fare in the AFC West. That's just how I feel it so far.
Well, of course. Well, made some decent points, but I got some shakeups in some spots that are, uh, you know, different. Of course, we're going to have the reigning defending Super Bowl champs at number one. It's kind of obvious. Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Andy Reid at the head coach, and really just the significant amount of experience that they have in these moments in these type of seasons as well too, and also postseason experience. I think it's just safe to say that they know that that is fair for them to be at the number one spot. I don't want to keep too much time on that because I think we all know what we have. Of course, it's going to be something a little bit different this season. You know, losing guys like Juju, losing some guys on the defensive end as well too. Juan Thornhill, Colin Sanders, like you mentioned already, and of course Frank Clark. We didn't talk about him on every show, but you know, at the same time, we also can fill those spots as well too with guys who can come in and play. So I don't think it's going to be too much different in Kansas City. I already predicted them to have another 14-3 season, maybe 15-2, depending on those wins that I have them probably losing. If they can pull them off, I can see them having a better season than what they had last year. But at the same time, we know what we have there, and I think it's solid that it's safe to say that they'd be number one until someone actually dethrone them in that position. Now, number two, I'm actually going to change it the Chargers to the Broncos. The reason why I'm gonna change it with the Broncos is because of the Sean Payton effect. We saw what he did in New Orleans. He always had a winning squad over there. He was always capable of getting to the playoffs as well too. Him being able to work with Russell Wilson and him not allowing him to do the things that he did last season to where it seems like he was overshadowing the Broncos organization. I think coming in with that type of leadership is going to put him on the right path again. We know that he has significant time outside of football as well too, where he contributed a lot, helping his wife. But at the same time, I think he's going to bring him back to the mindset of being a team player and being a leader that we saw him be in Seattle. So you have guys like Tim Patrick, Jerry Judy, Cortland Sutton, and then also I believe they were able to pick up a guy Marquez Callaway that was that had a good year in New Orleans as well. So really just getting those weapons on the offensive side and really helping Russ out what he having a young coach last year where the play calling was somewhat questionable. You have a Super Bowl coach and a Super Bowl quarterback together once again. Well, they were course on different squads, but they both have the same experience. You can bring those minds together. They should be able to produce something with the talent they have. They got a great defense as well too, so you don't have to worry about them giving up too many points because we saw them in low scoring matchups last season. So really, I think it just all depends on where they lead it and where they go with it. But I think they'll be fine. I think they will be okay. So I will put them at number two, and then number three, I will go with the Chargers, just due to the fact they got a great quarterback. I think Justin Herbert will be a top guy for years to come. However, I think with the coaching that they have over there with Staley, excuse me, Brendan Staley, he lacks, you know, I think he lacks knowledge when it comes to those key moments. I think he goes with percentages more than what he should sometimes. Like especially with fourth down efficiencies going for it at those times. Sometimes in those moments you should just go ahead and punt. Just depend on the defense because you got guys over there like Bosa and Khalil Mack, and you got a strong defense. You got a great secondary as well too, headed by Durham with James Jr. And then you also just have those other guys as well that really they're able to get a stop, on third down or fourth down when needed if a team goes for it. So I think it's just those moments that he have as a coach is going to put them in positions where they have more losses than what they had. They will have more losses than Broncos because I feel like they're going to have a coach that's well experienced and someone that's going to put them in a position to win the game and give the offense or defense a chance to make a play instead of just going off of if we need to get this now, and if we don't, if we do, he just take the hit, and that's something that he failed with. But you still got a guy like Herbert, who is a great quarterback. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. You also picked up Quinn Johnson as well too. So you have the weapons. So you're going to be fine. I think you're going to do enough to still be in that playoff contention as a third in the West, probably a wild card team because the AFC West usually one of the best divisions in the AFC anyway. So it just makes sense. And then at number four, it's nothing against the Raiders. I just think right now they're in rebuild mode. They had a lot of, things that happened in the past seasons. Had to get rid of Bruton, your starting wide receiver and cornerback, end up getting into some legal trouble that just really just kind of messed a lot of things up. Derek Carr end up he's now traded. So he left. So it just we don't know how it's gonna be for them. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a well capable quarterback. He definitely can manage the game, like he can manage the game, right? But at the same time, it's just that lack of experience, too much motion going on. Maybe they have a couple games where you see the potential there, but and then you still have Devontae Adams as well too. But is it really enough? I don't think so. So I think it's safe to say that Chiefs number one, Broncos could be number two, Chargers number three, and then Raiders number four. And that's how I see the AFC West for this upcoming season. But that's all we have on this part right here for the AFC West. We're going to send it off to a quick commercial, and then we will be right back with our second half of the episode. Talk to you soon.
What up, KC? After yet another Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory, we have an awesome opportunity for you to broadcast your business or your services to a very enthusiastic Kansas City audience. We've started Kansas City Sports Company, which is a sports media broadcasting hub that brings multiple different live shows covering all the local Kansas City sports teams. We're offering 30-second ad spots, 60-second ad spots, event sponsorships, show sponsorships, studio sponsorships, and much, much more. If you want more information or if this sounds like an opportunity for you, either contact me or hit that contact us link on the website.
All right, welcome back everyone to the episode. Now diving into our next topic, we're going to be discussing Patrick Mahomes after his workout with Trey Lance. So according to an NFL scout, Trey Lance has made leaps and bounds after working out with Patrick Mahomes this offseason while they were up in Texas. So this is pretty big for Trey Lance, coming off an ACL injury last season in the second week and then having to sit out. And then you saw Jimmy Garoppolo came in, carried them, had them win some games, and then Brock Purdy ended up finishing off the season for them when they actually made it to the NFC Championship game. So, Lonnie, what's your thoughts about this? Does this give him a big push going forward? Do you think this is something that Mahomes should have been a part of, especially with them possibly facing off in the future, say a Super Bowl being, even though they're in the NFC? So what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, so Mahomes, I feel like it's no harm, no foul with Mahomes, right? It's like shit. It's an art. So quarterback is being an art, and I feel like art is a shared. It's something that's shared. It can be a shared craft, a shared item. Anything, art is shared, bro. So you can share your art. I feel like in playing quarterback is an art. So I feel like he did no foul there. Just trying to give game. He's 2 Super Bowls up against the rest of the league. So like, I really think he's fine. He's good, and he's in a good space to give game at this point. As far as him battling, I feel like Mahomes can help him battle back from injury. Just give him a little insight into that injury, right? Because he hasn't had any major injuries, knock on wood, right? For Mahomes, none, except for the dislocation of the knee. And that was like a major part of his career. He actually went on to win the Super Bowl that year. But I feel like he can definitely help him in that department as far as like not going through that major injury, but having to fight back from a somewhat major knee injury. Dislocated knee is big. It's not as big as tearing the ACL or tearing the ligaments, but it definitely is a big factor there. And I also feel like he'll give him some perspective into the game, right? Him and Mahomes' game is similar. This is once a guy that was compared to Mahomes coming out in the draft. I mean, this man was supposed to be one of the best quarterbacks and one of the best young quarterbacks in the draft, and he came out. So I feel like he still has that potential. And I feel like Mahomes and him see the game similar. That's why that comparison was there with him coming out of the draft out of North Dakota State. So I feel like Mahomes gives him some perspective. He can give him some perspective just to how he sees the game, how he's reading certain things. And they may read things the same. It's just due to that comparison. I know that he was compared to him a lot coming out of college. But yes, battling back from injury, I feel like Mahomes kept him with reading the game, slowing it down for him, because that was big for Mahomes. It helped him win. And really, just like I said, just really like not trying to take everything from Mahomes' games, but just taking what he can and what he can use to help him make him more efficient. Because quarterback is about being efficient in the NFL, right? Who's going to be the most efficient? Who's going to help us win games? Like you said, Jimmy Garoppolo is good because he manages games. He doesn't lose games. He knows how to be just efficient enough to win you that game. So quarterback is also about efficiency, and I feel like he'll help him there with efficiency as well.
You know, a lot of people, when you're in a competitive sport like that, you know, they have strong opinions about that. Like, hey, like, you know, I don't know if you should be doing this just because this is a potential opponent that you can end up facing later on in the season, maybe in a big game. However, this is not nothing new in the NFL because you got Tight End University that's hosted by Kelsey, Kittle, and and other top NFL tight ends as well too, where they're out there giving each other game, they're training with one another and going through drills. You also have camps with the defensive linemen, the defensive pass rushers that's hosted by Von Miller, where they come out, work with each other and everything like that. And then you also be having receivers as well too that link up in the off season. So really, this is not nothing new, but I will see why this somewhat could be a big deal because of Patrick Mahomes. And then Trey Lance is someone who we know he's not Mahomes, but at the same time, he has the potential. You know, he's elusive in the pocket. He has a strong arm. He definitely can get it to his wide receivers. And then when you have the weaponry that he has over there in San Francisco with Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, you got McCaffrey, and then Kittle as well. He has a lot of things that he can work from. But I think this was a confidence builder for him to be connected with Mahomes because training with one of the best quarterbacks in the league, it only makes you a lot better. You can see how he sees the game. You can see how he works with his feet work because this is something that Mahomes does a lot in the off season. He always doing and trying different things that helps him work in that pocket when he's in real life game situations. And that's something I think that helped him as well too. And with him also having that injury, he was able to work with probably some of his training staff, help him with the flexibility of his body. That way, when he's tackled in those weird positions, it can help him with how his body can handle it. And that gives him a better advantage going into the season as well. Because with a talent like that being your top pick in the draft, you need to make sure he's set for the future. Now, I know that they have Sam Darnold that they brought in this offseason, and Kyle Shanahan feels that he can be a starter this season and bring that elite level of play back from him. However, this is somebody that you drafted in-house, and I feel like this should be the focus. And I think going into the season, he needs to be the starting quarterback, and Sam Darnold is your safety blanket to where if like you had last season, if someone gets injured, you know you have another player that can come in and step in and be able to take over the reins and get those wins that's needed to get to the postseason. So, but honestly, I think this just did justice really for him going forward. It shows that he's willing to learn and get better at his craft, and working with somebody like Patrick Mahomes, it only gives you a sense of, okay, I want to be an NFL champion. I want to be a future MVP as well too, and I want to play the game for a long time. So getting that out there, being able to actually get over that hump that they now feel that can happen, I think it's just a plus on both sides. And it also gives Mahomes more credibility and also respect as a quarterback as well too, because this is someone who's confident in himself, and he knows that regardless of who he helps out there, he know his play is what's still going to separate them when it gets out there. And 22 players is on the field, 11 on offense, 11 on defense, and he's going to get to work. So I think that was very cool. That was some good. That was good news to hear about. That just shows that you have a quarterback that's willing to be a great leader and inspire others as time go by. Because we love what you do on the field, but we like to see what you do off the field as well too. That shows that you're a charismatic individual. That you're very willing to drop gems on those younger guys that's coming up. Might not be as younger than you, but within the time period that you have been starting in the league for 5 years, being a two-time MVP, two-time Super Bowl MVP, and two-time Super Bowl champion, I mean that's just give them, just some confidence as in like now you might be the Tom Brady of this generation, and being able to do that during your prime as well, that's just going to give you more space in regards to like when your time comes up, people want to consider you the GOAT or the greatest of all time for not only what you did on the field, but off the field with helping and mentoring young players as they come up. So we'll see how it goes. It's gonna be a fun season. I love to see this type of stuff outside of the game when it comes to the off season, to where everyone could put their differences aside and they're just trying to better themselves on and off the field, and specifically working with one another to get better on the field. I always love to see it, and that keeps the level of play and the level of competition up and fun for us fans to enjoy when the season come along. So we'll see how it go. I'm ready to see what happens in September. Opening day is going to be fun for a lot of people. And you see how it is now. It seems like it's not really that many bad teams. Anyone can be beat at any time. The level of competition is up there, so it's great to see. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be fun. We'll see. We'll see. Got anything else to say before we move on to our last topic of the evening?
Yeah, nothing else to say except for Trey Lance. Wish Trey Lance the best of luck, and yeah, just healthy wishes, and hopefully we get to see him really lights out in that first game of the season. I hope.
And we hoping to see you have a healthy season. I want to be able to play him at his best as well too. I think that'd be a fun game between them and the Kansas City Chiefs if we ever
Yeah.
get that again. So we'll see how that goes. Now jumping in on to the next topic, we're going to be discussing Dru Tranquil. This is a linebacker that we acquired this off season, former Charger, someone that has gave Mahomes some trouble throughout the games that they have played this season. In the past seasons as well. So when he first got here to Kansas City, he said that the reason why he came is because when he signed here, Brett Veach and Andy Reid said they love the way he plays. They think that he will be exceptional to their roster and what he will bring on the defensive side. But they also said too that he's going to have to earn his roster spot on this team, and that fired him up, and made him want to sign with the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the same motivation he has gotten when he got out of college as well too, knowing that people are going to give him the opportunity, but he's going to have to work to get to where he want to be on the field, getting either a starting spot or being a rotational guy. So, Lonnie, what are your thoughts about this? How you feel about Dru Tranquil this upcoming season, and what are your thoughts about what he said that made him come over to Kansas City?
So, barring major injury to Willie Gay, unfortunately, I don't think Dru will be a starter. But being that we know Spag's system, right? He is a type of rotational type defensive coordinator. He does rotate a lot of different guys in there. He wants to give you a million different looks. He wants to confuse that quarterback, whoever he's playing. He wants to take advantage of your mind. So I can see him definitely be a rotational player, barring any major injury to Willie Gay. I can't really see him being a starter. I definitely do see him, like I said, opportunities for him being a rotational player inside of Spag's system. That gives Spags a lot of different. He's able to change a lot of different things, give a lot of different looks. Being that Dru was the type of guy he could cover tight end. Dru Tranquil could cover tight ends, and he was one of the top covered linebackers in the league. So he's one of the best at what he does. So, and that's a lot of potential in Spags offense, being that we put up as many points as we do. We have a lot of teams that want to throw the ball against us now, a la Cincy. So you're going to need somebody that can cover those tight ends, really go in and help there. Now, I do say that if Willie has dealt with a lot of injuries in these past couple years. As a Chiefs fan, we all know, right? Being last year, he was able to come back and sustain his health for the whole year, but the year before he dealt with some injuries, as far as like just different lower body injuries and things of that nature. So Willie has been off and on the field the past couple years. I will have to be honest honest and say that. Now, I don't think Dru will be a starter, but I say he has the potential to be a starter and a rotational player, because if Willie cannot stay healthy, I feel like Dru will put pressure on him on the depth chart for sure. Mm-hmm. So the potential to have heat on the back of Willie Gay's neck is there, just due to him having another athletic body, such athletic body built like Willie Gay in that room now, right? So it's not just like we're totally relying on the athleticism, and that's not to take nothing from Leo Chanel or to take anything from Nick Bolton, but those are kind of your traditional linebacker, plug the hole, make the tackle type of linebacker. We're talking about the more athletic linebacker that can get out there and guard your 6'7" tight end. Travis Kelce can sometimes try and come in there and help with that slot receiver, Scott Moore. So like you need those type of guys in the league. That's the type of way that we're going in the league now, right? It's a passing league. So there is definitely room for Dru Tranquil on the team. I just feel like I said, barring major injury to Willie Gay, I feel like Willie Gay is going to get the nod there because he has been dominant. Really successful at what he does for the Chiefs, which is be that athletic linebacker that flies around, makes plays, gets in the backfield, gets sacks, gets interceptions. But Dru has that potential as well to be that same type of linebacker, and even make that same type of impact. So I feel like he won't be a starter, but he can be a rotational player. And if Willie gets hurt, I would not be surprised if he felt that heat immediately from Dru Tranquil, that impact immediately from Dru Tranquil.
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I really feel like he's going to be a starter. And only reason why I say this because we forget that we run a 4-3. That's our base defense. So I know we see a lot of them in a 4-2-5 just because we want to have that extra defensive back out there where you okay with having Bolton and Willie Gay out there as your two linebackers in the 4-down defensive linemen. But when we go into that base defense, I think that's where Dru Tranquil will be the starter. You know, it's like if you at your base you got 4-3, right? So yes, he's going to be on the card where they have the starting linebackers and everything like that, because I think Leo Chanel still has some growth and have some growing pains that he has to go through. However, he is a great run stopper, and he's going to be in certain packages where we know that we need him in there to stop the run, and we have saw him be, phenomenal throughout the season on that, being able to attack the line and scrimmage, get behind those 5-down linemen, and then, get in the backfield and get a loss a game in some of those moments. However, Dru Tranquil, I think he will be that guy that you see like Ben Neiman when we had him here, and then also you saw with Damon Harris as well too, when we saw Willie Gay was out for a while, and then we saw a little bit more Leo Chanel. I think he'll be that type of linebacker to where when they want 3 linebackers out there, they're going to have them. They're going to have him out there. He'll be perfectly fine because, like you said, he's a great cover linebacker. He also had 5 sacks last season as well too. So when you're trying to send an extra rusher and an extra blitzer on those stunts, then that's someone that has the speed and the athleticism to get behind the defensive line. The offensive line, and really be able to force a quarterback out the pocket or actually end up getting a sack. So you bring that leverage on that. There to where, okay, now you have all this talent on the defensive side where he's gonna bring something that is gonna be needed for the defense. And I understand what you're saying, but when I come for that point, I see where you're saying where he's not going to be a starter, because when we're in that 4-2-5 where you have Chris Jones, Noddy, or Warden and them in the middle, or Charles Omenihu, and then you have Karlaftis, Felix on the outside as a 4-down lineman, and then we go with Bolton and Gay. That I see where he's saying where he's going to be they're going to want Gay out there because he's better than him. Essentially, that's what we're gonna say. But Dru Tranquil is one of those guys who, repetition, getting him out there playing. He's someone who is just he knows the game. He's just he's just all out, has a great IQ, and has a feel of the game, and know how to play his part on the defense. So
Athletic.
I think he's athletic. So I think he's gonna have. Excuse me. I think he's gonna have moments on the defense to where he's gonna play a significant role, and I think that's gonna help on the depth end as well too, to where we're deep at linebacker. We can have anyone out there and feel comfortable. We're not going to feel like we're lacking in that position. So, say if we got our 4th and 3rd down, and Willie Gay or even Bolton is like gassed or anything like that, we have the talent out there to where we can still get a stop without one of those guys. So,
exactly.
So we'll see how training camp goes and how the preseason goes as well. But I'm going to say right now, he's going to make the roster, flat out. He's there. He might get some reps on special teams as well too, where he'll have a significant role there as well. So really, we have a spot for him. I think Andy Reid and Brett Veach just said that to fire him up a little bit more and to bring that out of him, to show him that, do not be lax on this team. We know that you came from a great defense, but over here, we're not mediocre like you think as well. We know that people know us for our offense, Patrick Mahomes, what we do on that side, we could put up a lot of points, but this is a defense also as well, too, when we needed to stop. Now, that first part of the Super Bowl, you see Jalen Hurts and them have their way, but you saw as the game went on, we was able to get back there, we was able to get some pressure, make the offense stagnant, put into position to where, like, hey, we can get a stop to win a game. So he's going to be a part of this defense to where anyone just can't be a part of that, because it's going to be times where we get some things up, but when it comes to crunch time, we're going to be ready to go. And I think Dru Tranquil is going to be ready to go, and I think he's going to have a phenomenal season. I think he can put up better numbers than what he had last year. So we'll see. It's going to be fun. I think this was a low-key good pickup to where it's like, okay, I don't know why we went. I wasn't expecting us to go linebacker, but it makes sense when you start putting things together. It makes sense. So I think it's gonna be fun, and we'll see how it goes. You got anything else to say on this before I let you go?
Just lastly, look for a great position battle at this spot right here, right? Because like you said, that 4-3 look, right? You need 3 linebackers, right? So look for a good battle at this position, being that Leo was kind of heavier and more, like you said, brought in the run stuff. But we remember that video from the Super Bowl parade when Leo was scaling the side of that bus, that double-decker bus. He has the athleticism there. If Leo can come in and show that he can cover and be even half as athletic as Willie Gay, I say you might have an argument to where, can Dru Tranquil make this roster? Maybe the question that we come back to then, because
we're gonna have 4 linebackers. He's making the roster. I don't care about what I get what you're saying. Leo, he's there too. We gotta have 4 linebackers. We're not gonna go in there with just 3.
Yeah, of course. We're not gonna go in with just 3. Yeah, he'll make the roster, but that was probably a stretch. But it's just like Leo is on the cusp of being a very, like, man, you see why the Chiefs made that move.
Because before we go, I can say this, like we talked about, no offense to Willie Gay, of course, if you listen after this ain't nothing against you. This is just from a business perspective and also just like a team perspective. When stuff happens, he has been dealing with injury, right? He came into the Chiefs dealing with an injury. And he had a good history here. He hasn't gotten in trouble or nothing like that. But when you're dealing with these injuries, right? And you say if he has even another minor one coming this season, where he's not out for that long, but it's somewhere it's like he out for 3 to 4 games. At the same time, they keep that at the back of their heads. So if Leo makes it, jumps that jumps that hump to where it's like, okay, we can have him, step up and be that second linebacker. And then you have Dru Tranquil as well too, who's had a phenomenal season. They might not be scared to let Willie Gay walk if that was to happen,
I get
right?
what you're saying.
But
Yeah,
honestly, Leo is really more of a middle linebacker to me. He's like a Nick Bolton, but Nick Bolton is just a lot better. Athletic, he's smart, has an IQ. So that's something that Leo's going to have to learn throughout his time here, and that's the growing pains that I'm talking about. That's what he's going to have to get better at. But if he's able to jump over that and get to that point, and then you have Dru Tranquil, who is an outside off ball linebacker, where you can have that 4-2-5, like we said, where you have the two linebackers out there, and then when you have the base 4-3, Leo can be out there as well too. I mean, a lot of things can happen, so it all really depends. And we know that the Chiefs, Brett Veach is not hesitant on getting other talent as well too within the draft or in the off season. So it's just that's why I put that out there as well, because this can be also you know an audition to see who can who can go over without, who can be durable and play at that level to where we let them walk. But I don't
yeah.
want Willie to walk. I think he loves me in Kansas City. He's very hype. If he
I
has a
love
healthy
Willie Gay.
season, we don't have to worry about that. We don't have to worry about that at all. But I just had to put
Playmaker,
it out there. Just had to put it out there.
playmaker. One word for Willie Gay: playmaker.
Yes,
He's a
we saw what he
playmaker.
did. Saw what he did. That's that deflection interception. Took it to the crib.
Yeah, that's just a
Easy,
flash. That's just a
easy,
flash.
easy. Mississippi State. He's a dog. He's a dog. But that's all we have for this episode of Chiefin with Daily Dale. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms, Kansas City Sports Company on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Remember, abbreviated KC Sports Company at the @ name. Also, follow me on my Twitter at Dale E. Fowler, Facebook, Dale Fowler Jr., Instagram, Daily_Dale39. Lonnie, let them know your social media handles.
Instagram at __ Lano. My Twitter handle _LONNO. So Lano as well. And like we said, we're still getting everything together, y'all. Still pulling it all together. I'm coming. I'm coming
Yeah,
slowly but surely. We episode 3, and
we here.
I'm still getting everything together. But I'm showing up. I'm here. I'm ready to go, man. We
We
getting it
here.
all together. I'm gonna get it all together, and like we said, start interacting. Thank you for everybody that's been watching too, and we appreciate all the love, man.
We're here. Exclusive content for Kansas City Chiefs. Everything Kansas City Chiefs. You're here with the boys. We'll talk to you next time.